Hey, so I have a message for the collective. And so this message is a lot of my messages are for intuitive. I don't plan any of my messages really. The only reason I'm going into this is because I'm going to post this on some other outlets that I don't normally post on. So I just follow my intuition, intuitive guidance in each moment, whatever comes to the surface. I find that when I move my body, like if I'm dancing or I'm cleaning, so I was just cleaning a minute ago, and something will just come through. And then if the message comes out clearly, then I ask and it's yes, deliver it, then I deliver it. So with this, a lot of times, I get intuitive messages about specific collectives, and this is the collective is in humanity. So I just feel that I'm supposed to share my perspective on everything that is happening right now in the world. This is what I find and what I found through my Kundalini awakening in 2023. When my perspective shifted in a huge way, everything on this planet is a matter of perspective. So nothing is really inherently good or bad. That is like the human 3D perspective, but like from the spiritual perspective, there is darkness, there is light, everything serves purpose. It all depends on what we do with the challenges that we face and things like that. What we choose to do with that. If we let it keep us stuck, or if we choose to transmute and transform that energy, like the darkness that we walk through or the darker times in our lives, what we choose to do with that, we can transform that, transmute it, transform it into, and let it help us remember who we truly are. Let the darkness, because in our truest form, we are the light. So the contrast is the darkness. So, and this is my perspective, and our perspective really creates our experience of this world. Like I used to get so caught up in the victimization of, and believe me, I've been through a lot of dark things in my life, like in the victimization of, which I like, not the victimization's not real. I was victimized, by many situations, but I got stuck in that energy of victimization for a long time. And I wasn't able to kind of transcend. They kept me stuck by staying in that victimization. So by shifting the storyline, which really for me didn't shift until my awakening, but I feel that I'm supposed to share this to say here, because here's how I see what's happening on a collective level. So I went through a 7-year dark night of the soul. And that was not my only dark night of the soul. So dark night of the soul, just like, I don't even know how to describe that. If you don't know what it is, I don't know, look it up. So, because I don't really want to get into the explanation, but it is all the shadows coming to the surface. And a lot of times darker periods in our lives and the situations happening bring a lot of things up for us. So for me, it's like when I started into this 7-year dark night, I resisted. We are like conditioned and programmed to really like, we avoid, we dissociate, we distract ourselves. There are so many distractions. Distract ourselves. We lie to ourselves. We tell ourselves, no, that's not happening. Or for me, it was like when I was faced with certain shadows and like being faced with like my own hypocrisy, and I was being faced with all of these things, different situations presenting themselves. Everything, life is our teacher. Everything serves purpose if we choose to take that perspective and see what the teaching is in every situation. So I resisted. I convinced myself over and over, no, or I didn't want to look at that. I just wanted to be love and light. I didn't want to look at, the shadow aspects of myself, the darker aspects of my character, the different darker ways that I had showed up or whatever, or I would just minimize because I'm like, well, for the most part, I'm not, whatever. But those things don't define us. Our shadows don't define us. In our truest form, we are all fractals of the same light. So some have forgotten that more than others. Some living in amnesia more than others. Some come in more connected to it than others. But it's all actually the same. Like we're all really fractals of that same light. So those things don't define us. I just really wanted to like avoid that and to not look at it and to resist it and to convince myself and to lie to myself and do all these things. So, and I feel what's happening right now and what I see is we are going into, this is a collective dark night for the world, especially in the US, it feels, but it collectively, I believe this is happening everywhere right now in different ways on different levels. So it's like, this is what I've learned is we can resist as long as we want to. You can resist as long as you want to. We can resist looking at the truth of what's happening within our system and in our world. We can resist the truth of because the energy is real, and the energy coming in from the sun is real, and it is shifting. And people who are naturally intuitive or naturally more sensitive and emotional and things like that can really tuned in right now can really feel these shifts that are happening. And it's all working for us because it's pushing all of this emotional debris to the surface, things that we've tried to avoid, things that we've tried to shed away. And the free will is you can choose to push those things away for as long as you want to. Push it away. It does not go anywhere. Energy never dies. And then it gets stuck in our bodies. It gets stuck in our energy field. So, and then we're just holding ourselves back from elevating and expanding by doing that. When you can choose at any time to face those things, it is not going to kill you. It doesn't, and had I known this and just, I don't know, had someone to kind of guide me through that, which my experience all played out perfectly. It was exactly what I needed to be prepared. But it's sharing this to say, as soon as you want to escape that, and as soon as you want to just face those things and for me, I had to learn to love those aspects of myself. It wasn't about shedding those things out. It was just about honoring them and learning to love them, and also seeing where they came from, seeing, those wounded parts of myself, and not going, oh, but you're too sensitive. Oh, you're too emotional. Oh, you're too whatever. No, we are emotional beings. Human beings are emotional beings. We are the way that we're not freaking robots. And the way that we operate is very robotic, oh, we're just not supposed to feel that. We're not supposed to do that. Keep going, keep moving forward, push yourself through, and that's everyone's choice, how they want to live. All I'm saying is, if these things are coming to the surface, it is our choice. We get to make that choice of, okay, I want to face this stuff, or I feel called to this healing practice, or I feel called to this thing, so that we can move through those things. Because while I do see this being a 7-year collective thing, that is something that keeps coming through. You individually can escape as quick as you want to. You can dive into, whatever, healing work, or even just facing those things that we've tried to push away for a long time, honoring them, giving them a name, saying them out loud, letting that energy move through us. Also crying, screaming, that helps the energy move. As crazy as that sounds in the way that our society has conditioned us to operate, I had to clear a lot of that stuff. And as somebody who's so emotional, clearing that stuff, when something would, I would get into some sort of practice and it would trigger something within me, there was a lot that needed to clear, but that doesn't mean that anything's wrong. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to make it because I couldn't breathe and I was crying so much, but it's clearing that energy. It's letting that stuff clear. And the quicker that we choose to do that and to face these things, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter what's happening. And I had the most freedom and joy that I've ever had. I mean, this last week has been rough because of the shifts that have been happening, but I, am more free and more joyful in the midst of all this happening, because I learned that it doesn't matter. It's finding that, we can find alignment with the truest part of ourselves in the midst of all the chaos. And when we choose to do that, we are shifting the collective energy, and we are shifting the collective energy in every interaction that we have when we choose to do that. So it's not really so much oh, but we got to pay attention. That's a choice. Everyone has their own choice. But oh, we can't, oh, well, that means I don't care about what's happening in the world. No, I pull my focus from that because I really care. Because by elevating, it serves as inspiration for people to see that it actually, and that's how we come up with creative solutions too. That's how creative energy flows. That's how ideas flow. We are all creative. And I believe we all have a role to play as things shift in this world moving forward. And I found through my own healing, it's I started to remember, and it started to make sense. And the more that I, let this energy move through me, and the more that I tapped into my authenticity, the more that my energy kind of expanded, and I tapped into the joy and the freedom within, tapped into my heart. I believe that's what we're being called to do right now. So even if it's 7 years of chaos, we can step out and choose to heal whenever, and then be truly show up as the change among this society and among people. We start to move differently, and to show up like that is everything right now. And then we can find that freedom in the midst of, even if this is kind of things crumbling and a lot of stuff happening for the next 7 years. We can deny it for as long as we want to and pretend like everything's good. But, there's a point where we've got to really like digest and face what's really happening and what's really going on and who really has our best interest in mind. I love you guys.